Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. I'm on a mission to get it all. Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. If you ain't thick, please don't get involved.
And now, Brandon Thick Boy Schaub.
What's up, fam? How is everybody? It is Monday morning, October 31st. Happy Halloween. Parents out there, how'd you dress the kids up? Did you get them going? Were they doing face paint? Did they hate their costume? Kids always hate their costumes. They want one thing, you put it on them, like, I want this thing. Boston wants to be just like his older brother. So he swore to me he wanted to be a baby T-Rex. I got him baby T-Rex. He sees his brother. His outfit was fire. His looks were fire. And then, you know, he wants to be a zombie from the Disney series Zombie. That show is lit. Lit, dude. So that zombie show is on Disney. There's 3 movies. The first one came out, I think, in 2018, but it just stays relevant because these youngsters watch them. It's kind of a musical, you know? Mm-hmm. That's T there with his friends. They dressed up as well from the movie Zombie. 2 little cheerleaders, if you're listening to this. 2 little zombie cheerleaders. There's Basti as a T-Rex.
So cute. Super cute.
His tail's awesome. His little friend there is Wonder Woman. Yeah, he's a thick T-Rex, huh? I don't know why Boston's crossed it. So T crossed his arm because Zed does the character on that Zombies movie. And I was like, Bosty, T-Rex don't cross their arms. They're too small. They can't do it. But he just did it. He just did it, man. That's what they did. We're coming fresh off the fight companion, man. Calbass fight companion for Jake Paul, Anderson Silva. And am I the only one? I was under the impression the co-main event was Uriah Hall and Le'Veon Bell.
That's what I thought too.
We had a little bit of a panic attack when that fight got it. They started walking out like, what? But I don't know. Did they announce the entire lineup? Because even when I was texting with Showtime, I was told that was the co-main event. I was like, when did they walk? He said, I don't know. Keep you posted. And the next thing we know, it happened. What was interesting, I said this when that fight was announced. I was like, man, I'm more excited for that than I am the main event. Way off. The fight was not great. 4 rounds. The narrative on that is Le'Veon Bell's a better boxer than we thought. For Uriah Hall, you definitely should have got him out of there. I think Uriah Hall was a little gun shy and didn't really pull the trigger there. But I think the narrative on that, it's not Le'Veon Bell losing by decisions. Like, Le'Veon Bell is pretty damn good, you know, especially for having this is his second fight. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. But in the main event, the big enchilada of the night, Jake Paul, Anderson Silva. Hate to toot my own horn. Your boy called it almost to a T. I thought Jake Paul was going to lose rounds early on. I thought technically he was going to be at a severe advantage against Anderson Silva, and I thought that was the case. Anderson Silva had success when he's going forward, throwing feints, especially getting Jake Paul against the ropes, against the ring there, and he did have some success doing that. But overall, my prediction, if you can go back and watch it, I think we posted on Instagram and we posted, I said on the fight campaign and last week's Schaub show, was Jake Paul was going to have some issues with Anderson Silva early on just because Anderson's such a technical and savvy, veteran when it comes to striking and combat sports. But eventually Jake Paul is going to land something. And I thought my prediction was a late knockout, which 8th round knockdown ain't too far off, but I thought he was going to knock him out. But he did end up getting the decision win, which if you're a Jake Paul fan, I know some of you are out there. If you're a Jake Paul fan, this was actually more impressive because you wouldn't learn too much about Jake Paul if you went out there and knocked him out in the first 3 rounds. You would be like, well, I think the narrative would be Anderson's old. Jake Paul's not that good. Yeah, of course, a young guy lands a big punch on one of the greatest to ever do it, but the guy's 47. All right, Jake, you're just beating up cans. By going the way it went, where Jake Paul's losing some rounds, we're seeing how much Jake Paul improved from his last fight with Woodley to this fight, which is the amount of improvement that Jake Paul's made from his last fight to this fight, really every fight, is insane. And it just shows, and it's kudos to Jake Paul for how hard he works in camp, because to make those leaps, the only way to make those improvements, clearly you're not doing it in real time in the ring because you can't fight that frequently. So it's through your training camp and your coaches. So I mean, kudos to his coaches, his training partners, the training camp, and for Jake Paul for literally selling his body and becoming a legit boxer, because the Jake Paul that fought Woodley, that last one, would not have beat this Anderson Silva. But this is how fast this kid's getting. This is how good he's getting at boxing, because he's putting in the work, he's putting the time, he's taking it serious. And that wasn't like now, is it Anderson Silva from, 2010? No, of course not. But it's a pretty damn good Anderson Silva, especially for a guy with only 5 fights. That's a tough task. It's Anderson Silva, who is coming off a win over Chavez Jr. Not bad, dude. Not bad. So for Jake Paul he needed this. He needed it to go the 8 rounds and to have some, rounds where he lost, and then also to get hit. And I think as for Jake Paul's fan base, but also for the haters too, the narrative of Jake Paul doesn't fight anybody, he's fighting cans. He's just fighting people where he has this huge advantage over. You saw a pretty damn good Anderson Silva go in there tonight and took it really serious and definitely won some rounds against Jake Paul. As far as scoring goes, at it 77-74, 78-73 is pretty aggressive. Even if you had Anderson Silva up on the cards 4-3 going into that 8th round, if that's your narrative and that's how you scored the fight, which I think some people did, well, that 8th round with a knockdown would be a 10-8. So even with that assumption, which is wrong, but even if you're with that assumption, you still lost if you were betting on Anderson Silva, because that's a 10-8 round in boxing, right? So Jake Paul clearly won this fight. Very clearly won this fight. I thought his combinations were impressive. I thought, again, he only has, at this time, this is his 6th fight. He had 5 fights. I thought he got in trouble and was losing the fight and was going to maybe lose the fighting decision if he did stay on the ropes too long, and Anderson Silva knew he was having success there. Anderson Silva clearly had the advantage in close range boxing, but whenever it was in the middle of the ring, Jake Paul really, got his feet underneath him and started doing his best work there. His combinations, his body shots were impressive. And then obviously the big punch in the 8th round that sat Anderson Silva down and clearly put the nail in the coffin to prove that Jake Paul not only is a better boxer, but a better fighter, and won the fight. So I think there'd be a little more controversy, especially if he didn't knock him out in the 8th round. People would be more upset, but it's pretty hard to argue that Anderson Silva won that fight. And I saw online, I saw an article I was reading this morning of, fighters, when it went to decisions, like, oh, here we go. It's like, what? Now, you got to take off your hate glasses. I know it's Jake Paul, and listen, I'm with you. It's against every fiber of my body as a UFC alumni to bet against Anderson Silva against a kid who came from YouTube. I completely understand the hate you guys have for Jake Paul, especially when he's fighting Anderson Silva or Woodley. Ben Askren, not really, a major UFC fighter, but was UFC, so I get it. But at the end of the day, when you see what Jake Paul did and you see the improvement, go do yourself a favor. Go watch Jake's, and it's easy to do. They're not that long. Go watch Jake's fight from when he fought, was it Nate Anderson?
Robinson?
Nate Robinson, the basketball player. Watch him there, and it's this weird, like amateur, their distance and their timing's all off. Then eventually Jake catches him. And even the Ben Askren fight, we can't learn a lot from that. But then with the Woodley fights, you go back and watch those 5 fights again. Take some time and do it. It's not that much time out of your day. And then watch me against Anderson Silva. Like, gee, oh my God, the improvement this kid's making. And what makes that interesting is because it's tough for Anderson Silva. Because remember, Anderson Silva can only base his game plan, his thoughts predicated off those 5 fights. But if the kid's this young and has this room to improve, you really don't know what you're going to get, because you can't really expect what you're going to get, because he's making these advancements so fast in boxing. So for Anderson Silva, he was against it, man. Because you didn't fight the same Jake Paul that fought Woodley that second time. You're fighting a completely different fighter. He's getting better. So, the narrative of Jake Paul's not a real fighter. Hopefully, it's tough to run on that narrative for the haters out there. My favorite is when they go, oh, it's rigged. It's such a low IQ thing to say. It's such a stupid thing to say. Because if you hear Ben Askren, who fought him, and listen, if you fought him, I'm all ears. Those people saying, "Oh, every fight's rigged," I'm all ears if you fought him. So if Woodley, Ben Askren, or Nate Robinson come out, or Anderson Silva came out and said that, I'm going to pay attention. If you're a guy who's never fought in your entire life, you have no background, you're just sitting on the couch and you say it, you don't count, right? Because you have no clue what the hell you're talking about. But what it does is it discredits Jake Paul's work. But what I find interesting is those people that say, "Oh, this is fake." It's actually doing more pro Jake Paul than it is hurting him. Because when you guys go, and obviously Nate Diaz did it, right? It's such an easy thing to do, right? It's such an easy thing to do. With comics, the easy thing to do, the least creative thing to do, go, "Oh, he's a hack," or "He's not funny." Like, you don't have any original ideas. And with Jake Paul, it's all staged. You don't have any original ideas. This is it. That's it. That's all you got. So for even Nate Diaz, right? It's easy to jump on that train. He tweeted a video out assuming that this Anderson Silva was on the payroll. It's such a weak fucking narrative, dude. It's such, because then, okay, Nate, okay. But when you agree to fight Jake Paul, and if he knocks your ass out, what are you going to say? Oh, are you on the payroll? Like, you're setting yourself up to get a lot of fucking backlash. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What narrative are you going to run on when you fight Jake Paul? And trust me, dude, you're not fighting the Jake Paul that beat Anderson Silva that night. You're fighting a much better fighter. And I'd love to hear from anyone. Do you think that the Jake Paul that showed up and beat an Anderson Silva that night wouldn't beat Nate Diaz after watching that? Now, before this fight, when Jake was calling out Nate, I'm like, that's a terrible idea. I'm telling you don't want these problems. Nate, the volume, the punching, the cardio, the kid can box. It's going to be a problem, man. It's going to be a problem. After that fight, I'm like, if I'm Nate, I don't know if I want to put my fan base, my, those kind of optics, if the pros versus cons, I don't know what the payday is. I'm sure it'd be the biggest payday he's ever had. Although the Conor McGregor fights, I'm sure he got paid, but I think for Nate, it's a real kind of dilemma now. His team's sitting there, and obviously they're going to say all this stuff in the media, and also as far as being staged or being fake, Nate slapping Logan Paul's dad's all staged, right? We know this, right? That's not real, right? That builds the fight. So Nate's very good at this, right? Playing the heel, doing this stuff. When I say heel against Jake Paul's hilarious, but you know what I'm saying. Like, he's good at painting these narratives, and it's all theatrics. And I know it's gangster, and we want to use the gangster thing, but it's not very gangster if it's staged. You slap his dad, or you get kicked out of the arena, stuff like that, right? So it just builds this fight. But the problem is, and Nate Diaz has a massive fan base. So if you keep telling your fan base, this is all fake, they're on the payroll, he's not really knocking these guys out, these guys are taking a fall. Well, for the most part, the educated people and the people with a few more brain cells, we know this isn't staged. But if you keep carrying on that narrative, and then you guys fight in, 4 months, Madison Square Garden, wherever you're going to do it, and he were to beat you, what are you going to, it looks terrible. So either you're in on it, or you just learned that these weren't staged and you get your ass beat by a YouTuber. Either way, it's not good. Because you've been ranting, and the fans and the MMA community's been ranting. Oh, it's all staged, it's all fake. What are you gonna do, dude? What narrative are you gonna run on? It just doesn't work. But what I think is funny is, and I've had people say, "Listen, I was at Starbucks this morning." Some guy goes, "Dude, do you think that's real?" I'm like, "Phew, my God, dude. Yeah, let me guess, you got a pumpkin spice latte?" Like, if you think it's staged, you're also the same grown man that orders pumpkin spice lattes, right? So, boy. So I think what Jake Paul's doing is so insane, and we will never see this as long as I'm alive. You're never going to see this again. A guy go from Disney to YouTube, being the younger brother of another, major YouTuber, reinvent himself, go in a different lane, and go in boxing and beat the caliber of guys he's beating. Even though they're not boxers, you're not going to see him beating these guys. It's never going to happen again. He's going to be the only outlier who does this at this level, at this major level. But what I find fascinating is, for those that go, it's rigged, it's fake. And Chin will do this, and I'm with you, Chin. And Mark would do this, Brian would do this. When you see something on Instagram or TikTok or where the hell you're watching on social media, let's say you see a shorter guy says he has a 45-inch vertical and he dunks or something like that, or you see a guy do something crazy, and you're like, that's not real. That can't be real. That was so impressive. That can't be real. That's so insane. I can't imagine another human doing that. That can't be real. That's what's going on with Jake Paul. He's the guy that we're watching on Instagram, and he's doing something that you can't comprehend. And it's so insane what he's doing right now. You have to say that's not real. It's just adding to the legend of Jake Paul. This just adds to it. And when he validates himself where it's not real against Nate Diaz or whoever he fights next, and you can't carry on that narrative, you literally have to go back through the fights and go, holy, he actually did that to these guys? So you're just you're promoting this Jake Paul machine. That's all you're doing. When you guys mention his name or anybody for that matter, you're just giving him free promo. And it just adds to the legend of Jake Paul. It's no different when you see a video and it's so shocking and you've never seen anything like it and you don't have the perspective and you go, that's not, you automatically discredit. Not real. No, there's no way that's not real. Now, sometimes you're right. We've had that, Jim. Most time you're right because you like that. Remember that lady who was filming her rescuing kids getting kidnapped in Brazil? Remember they're trying to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, actually looked into it. It's not real because it's so insane to watch. Like, holy shit, that lady's a badass. We grabbed that kid and they caught it all on this bullshit video. You're like, that's not real. It's so insane that it's insane that video would catch it. But sometimes you will see things on Instagram where, whether it's athletic achievements or there's some guy in a gym who's holding on to 100-pound dumbbells and he's like jumping a 40-inch vert. That's so out of control, so insane. We automatically as a society, because there's so much misinformation out there, go, that's not real. So to me, when I hear that's not real, I go, my God, yeah, how crazy is that? That Jake Paul's been so impressive, knocking Ben Askren out when he had 2 fights, knocking Woodley out, going the distance with Anderson Silva, and actually in the 8th round when you guys didn't have cardio and power, knocking him flat on his ass. It's so impressive. The only excuse anybody has out there is that's not real. You're actually helping Jake Paul in this. That's all you're doing. You're just feeding into his narrative. It's nuts. He's so impressive. It's to me, it's like, dude, that's a feather in his cap. When you say that, that's a compliment. That's such a compliment. It's the same thing. I've had people go, Schaub doesn't write his jokes. There's no way. They come to the show, and then Mark tells me, yeah, this guy, thinks you have someone writing your jokes. I'm like, damn, that's a compliment, dude. They think, what do they think? Chris Rock's writing them? Who's writing them? I'm like, oh, man, that's dope. I'm never like, what? That's ridiculous. No, dude. Hell yeah, man. Fuck yeah. You think somebody else is doing that? That's dope, dude. That's great. That means it's a good show. It was so good, you think somebody else is writing it. Hell yeah, dude. This is great. This is fantastic. So with Jake, same thing. Exact same thing. Exact same thing. Same thing with Tom Brady, right? Dude, he's whatever he is, 44. Dude, there's no way he's that good. Yeah, he's on steroids, right? We always want to cut the legs from other people because we could never comprehend that somebody could achieve these accomplishments. Oh my God. Tom Brady, dude, he's on so much shit. LeBron, dude, so much shit. Okay. Just makes you feel better about yourself. Oh, there's no way a Disney YouTuber could not, dude, beat Anderson Silva. Dude, this is totally staged. Yeah, that's how insane it is, dude. That's how nuts it is. It's so nuts that a good amount of people think it's staged. It's so nuts that a good amount of people think Showtime and Espinoza and Anderson Silva and Woodley and Ben Askren need money so bad and are willing to risk their entire reputations and stage these fights. When you actually break it down, think how stupid you people sound. That it's all staged. That everyone's in on it. The fighter's in on it. Now let's say that you want to carry on that narrative and say, well, the Ben Askren thing, dude, that punch, that wasn't even that hard. Okay. And this is from Ben Askren's mouth. I think he has a YouTube show that he does. He broke it down. He goes, it's hilarious to me when people tell me that it's staged. He goes, of course I wanted to win that fight. He goes, do you realize the amount of money I would make if I beat Jake Paul? It'd be so short-sighted. Go, yeah, I'll agree to get knocked out and embarrassed and whatever it was, a few seconds. Yeah, let me agree to that. But if I can actually beat him Well, his brother's waiting. The Nate Diaz fight's waiting. The Conor fight. Who knows what you're going to get? You get probably $100 million, or you can take this, whatever it was, $5 million right now, ruin your reputation, become a meme, have everyone make fun of you. Who the fuck would agree to that? Now, you might be sitting and go, well, I would. Maybe you would. But you're not a world-class wrestler. You're not a former world champion in 2 different organizations in mixed martial arts. You're just not. Ben Askren and Woodley and Anderson Silva would never risk their reputations and let a Disney YouTuber knock them out or beat them in any facet, including video games, tic-tac-toe, where the fuck you want to play. They would never do that, dude, ever. Who would do that? Think how insane that is. Think how stupid you guys sound right now. Think how stupid. And when you actually think about it, it's insane. Because Anderson beats Jake, he goes on to bigger, better things. In the long game, everybody who's lost to Jake, they don't go on to bigger, better things. It costs them a significant amount of money in their next fights. Woodley beats him, he can go on and do other stuff. Askren beats him, go on and make a ton of money. Anderson beats him, all right, man, he's going on doing other stuff. When Jake beats you, you get stopped in your fucking tracks. Because nobody really wants to touch these guys now. They get beat by Jake, the YouTuber. Now, you're not going to get a bigger fight. You're going to get a bigger payday. So when you actually think about it, it makes no fucking sense. It also just gives so much credit to Jake Paul that what he's achieving is so impressive. The only narrative you morons can run on is it's fixed. Okay. Let's take a little break from me just ranting and raving about Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva. San Antonio, Ohi Thick Tour is this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Tiger Thick will be available next week. Houston, Texas, November 10th through the 12th. Heavy Texas. Houston Improv's next week. San Antonio, Europe this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Can't wait to see you guys. Also stay at my favorite hotel of all time, Hotel Emma. Come get you some. Well, kids, Halloween is here. All right, cue the Michael Myers scary music. Michael Myers sure is scary, but the last thing you need is to be hairy this Halloween. There's nothing worse when you got a dope outfit, but you get your bush sticking out, scaring all the kids, scaring your friends. Nobody wants to put you in pics anymore because your wiener's all sauced up, all right? Thank God for my friends at Manscaped. Launched their 4th generation performance package to make sure your pumpkins get the ultimate carving experience on this spooky day. Turn your bite-sized treat into king-size candy and join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off. Free shipping with the code SHAUB20. Make the right call this spooky season. It's trick or trim. We got you, baby. All right, have you ever tried to trim your nuts and it turns into a Freddy Krueger film? Freddy Krueger 19, wherever they're on. Your nuts are bleeding all over the place. All right, who's doing that these days? How many times have you heard me talk about Manscaped? Manscaped is the only thing that should be touching your junk. They gave you the Performance Package 4.0. It's available not just to the rich, for everybody at a great price, all right? So the Lawnmower 4.0 has advanced skin-safe technology. It's not going to clip your nuts. There's no blood, none of that. It's the greatest ball trimmer on the planet. It's also waterproof. You can do it in the shower. It has the light on it. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker for those ears in your nose and your ears. That's scary. That's the scariest outfit you can have. You have hair hanging out your nose and ears. What are you doing? The Weed Whacker got you covered, man. All right. And then they also give you their Crop Preserver, Ball Deodorant, and Crop Reviver. Ball Toner will make sure your pumpkins stay fresh. Trust me when I say this, your balls will thank you. Manscaped also just launched a new body buffer. That's 100% antibacterial body scrubber. It's what you need to make sure you're fresh and clean this Halloween. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts in this Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped boxes and shed travel bags, and put all that in there, all right? So get 20% off and free shipping with the code SHAUB20 at manscaped.com. That's SHAUB20 at manscaped.com for 20% off, free shipping with the code SHAUB20 at manscaped.com. Say trick or treat to your beautiful new Halloweeny with Manscaped. Before we get back to the program, I got to talk to you about the best nootropics on the freaking planet from my friends at On It. We talking about Alpha Brain. You've heard it. You've heard my friend Joe Rogan says he feels that it helps him form better sentences when he's talking. It's the only nootropic that you can trust. It is going to get you into that flow state. What you need to do for a lot of viewers out there, go and take some Alpha Brain, take 2 pills, and rewatch the Sugar Sean O'Malley fight and rewatch Jake Paul's fight, and then you're going to come to your senses and go, oh, Sugar did win, and oh, Jake Paul did win. It wasn't rigged. So really fire up your brain with some nootropics, and you can save 10% off when you go to onnit.com/Schaub, SCHAB. Get 10% off everything on the Onnit website. I'm talking Warrior bars, protein powder, fish oil, multivitamins, workout gear, kettlebells. You save 10% off the entire website, but you can save 10% off Alpha Brain, the best nootropics on the planet. It's also caffeine free. If you're worried about trying Alpha Brain because you're worried about caffeine, don't be. It's caffeine free. Here's how positive on it is that Alpha Brain's going to work for you. It's guaranteed or your money back. No return necessary. Keep the bottle. Just let them know why you didn't like it. They'll refund your money on the spot. No return necessary. Give them about 2 weeks. We got you covered. You have no reason not to try it. Save 10% off by going to onnit.com/Schaub or swing by your local Walmart and pick it up. But do your boy a favor. Go to onnit.com/Schaub. Thanks for Onnit being part of the podcast. Let's get back to the freaking program. So what's next for Jake Paul? You know, I would assume Nate Diaz. Dana said Nate goes, yeah, he doesn't entertain that. He doesn't think, he doesn't do circus fights. You do though. You have all the kids fights. You show up to the events, right? You're part of the plan. So I would assume, especially with engagement, Nate had a fighter on the card. Do you guys realize that's all premeditated? You think Jake needs to fill the card so bad he's just going to randomly put one of Nate Diaz's training partners on there? Or do you think in some weird world, and you're the same people that believe all this is fake, do you think in some weird world, Jake goes, all right, we need Nate at the event. Nate's team offered to have their fighter fight on the card. That brings Nate in there and he can get backstage. Otherwise, he doesn't get backstage. So he's cornering his guy. So he'll be able to have interactions with Jake Paul and Jake Paul's team. We're going to have cameras. If something were to happen, we'll make sure we get it to build the next fight. Do you think in some weird world that was all premeditated? Of course it was. Nate's in on this, quote unquote, as Dana says, circus. I think it's funny. I think it was Derek Brunson posted this. I think after Jake knocked Anderson down, he tweeted out, he goes, Dana must be smashed his 300-inch TV right now. Dana's watching. I mean, as much as Dana says he doesn't watch it, he's watching Jake Paul. Especially the card that UFC put on to compete with this. I mean, granted, they did it a little earlier not to compete, but still, fight card Saturday night. I mean, not even close. That UFC fight card was, So for Jake Paul, I would assume it's Nate Diaz. And, I can honestly sit there and say that ain't an easy fight for Nate. Not an easy fight for Nate at all. At all. And even Frank, this is Frank Mir. Legendary goes, even the Conor fight, I don't see Conor beating him now. It's like, holy shit, this get out of hand. That's how impressive Jake Paul was. It makes everybody who, in their DNA, Frank Mir has, if you slit his freaking wrist and blood came out, octagon material would leak out. He is Mr. UFC. His wife was adamantly rooting against Jake Paul. She goes, I just can't. I know Dana. Listen, I bleed the UFC. There's no way I'm rooting for Jake Paul. There's no way. So everyone's rooting against Jake Paul, and it makes sense. So for Dana, it must drive him a little crazy that Jake Paul's picking these guys off. And then, shout out to Showtime for having GSP at the helm there too, doing his commentating. He leaked out some news, goes, I think it's this week, he'll be a free agent finally. Which is insane. But GSP goes, it would have to be something really special. I don't want to take any headshots. I don't want to take any, damage. So it'd have to be right. And the amount of money would have to be right, but, and not train for it, in full capacity. I would never doubt, Jake Paul's team would reach out to GSP, which is insane. We're talking about this. That's how insane this is. GSP's become a free agent. And it's like, was he down to fight Jake? Nuts. It's fucking nuts. But that's definitely not next. Nate Diaz would be next, and that is a banger, dude. So the payout, Jake Paul made $1.5 million guaranteed. It's his production, right? UFC fighters can take notes from that. It was his MVP Productions who put that on in cahoots with Showtime with the production stuff. But it is an MVP production. So he gets 1.5. Anderson Silva was guaranteed a pay of, I think, $800K or $500K?
500.
500K. But Anderson gets a certain percentage of pay-per-view sales. So here it is. Silva so according to DraftKings, Paul is expected to earn $1.5 million guaranteed. All right. Paul will have the opportunity to bring in millions more as he receives, ready for this, 65% share of total pay-per-view buys. I would imagine that thing did pretty well. This means the Prom Child could walk away with well over $10 million, which he definitely will. Silva, on the other hand, will earn a guaranteed purse of $500K, which those 500 mean nothing, really. The former UFC champ, Kingpin, will get a 35% share of total pay-per-view buys. So just so you know, the way the UFC, when you talk about pay-per-view, the way the UFC works is you get pennies on the dollar for pay-per-view buys. Whether you're Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, you get pennies. They're giving guys straight up 65% of overall sales and 35% overall sales, which is nutsos. So I'd be willing to bet Anderson would probably make, I don't know, 5 to 10 million. Jake, 15 to 20 million off this fight. I would imagine this thing went pretty viral, did pretty well, And that also says Silva will also make more money on the back end through merchandise sales and sponsorship. So, yeah, that's a nice little payday for Anderson Silva, man. Really nice. Shout out to Jake Paul. But, yeah, that Nate Diaz fight, imagine the amount of money he's going to make. Nuts. And for Jake, it's just, we were talking about this on the Cowboys Fight Company event. Watch it. It's available on Thick Boy right now. We had Jesse on Fire, who I absolutely love, Frank Mir, and then the absolute best and Sam Tripoli, who definitely got us demonetized and probably would get the episode taken down because it's conspiracies. Now, here's the thing. Before the show and after the show, Sam always says, hey, I don't have to talk conspiracies, man. I can talk so much other stuff. I'm like, I'm sure you can. You're here to talk conspiracies. Like, that's what I want. So whenever there's I got to steer the ship. So whenever there's a little bit of, there's a slow fight, some of those other fights were pretty brutal. So whenever there's like downtime, I just look at him and go, dude, how about the Pelosi thing? And then it's off to the races. And I know exactly where he's going to go. So I'm doing it on purpose. I know we're going to demonetize. And I could see Mike, who's the head of Thick Boy Productions. He was behind the camera. And when I went, how about the Pelosi thing? I see his eyes go. Because he knows we're going to get demonetized. And I know it's going to cost me financially when I do that stuff. But I have to do it. I have to do it. I can't. And listen, I've had conversations with YouTube, and they're like, make sure you don't say this, make sure you don't do this, make sure you don't cuss in the first, whatever. And at some point, I'm like, if I start being disingenuous and unauthentic, I'm fucked. Even with customer, this is what I believe. I know it's not maybe the popular opinion online right now, or the facts aren't out, but from the sources and what I see, this is what I think is fun to talk about. I know it's going to get demonetized. I can't change. I can't. I know it's going to affect the show. I know the show's going to get suppressed, which it is. I think it's already over 100K, which I thought I'd do about 20K after we were talking about Newsom and politics and all this stuff. And I think he even called Obama freaking Obama was born a female or some crazy shit. I don't know. But that's so much fun to me. Remember, I'm from the Wild West days with Rogan, Eddie, Brian, and myself, where it was on, dude. None of that stuff back then got suppressed or demonetized, and you're allowed to say whatever you want. And we're in this weird world now, and trust me, I fight it every single day, where my shows are getting suppressed and demonetized and flagged and taken down and all this shit. Every day. Now it's just normal to me. It's part of my gig now, being a owner of a business. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And I don't agree with all the stuff Elon does and stuff like that, but when he bought Twitter, I was like, God, if he could only buy Instagram and YouTube, that'd be fantastic. Hey, Elon, keep the train going, dude. Get some investors. It's going to be tough to buy YouTube and Instagram because Facebook owns Instagram, but get some investors, man. Buy that stuff and quit having them suppress our stuff. That'd be cool. It's a fight I deal with every day. I can't change. I know it costs me money. I can't. I don't know what to do. I literally don't. I just can't. Sorry. And I apologize to everyone on the show. Even Sam, I'm like, hey, man, I set you up for that stuff. It's going to, get the show demonetized and suppressed, but that's why you're here. It's literally why, this is what's fun for me. And if I have to change and, bow down to their, criteria and what they think is misinformation or what they think I can't talk about, I'll just quit. I'd rather retire. I'd rather make less money and just do my thing. It's so much fun. I have so much fun doing those things. I can't do a fight campaign next Saturday for the big UFC 281. I'll be in Houston on tour Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's Houston Improv next week. And this week I'm in San Antonio, a lot of Texas. Texas is first 2 weeks of November, so November 3rd through the 5th, which is this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's at the LOL in San Antonio. And then the following week I'm in Houston, November 10th through the 12th at the Houston Improv. I'm so excited for those because those are the two biggest markets. Texas is my biggest market for Tiger Thick. So in Houston, I'm doing an appearance at Specs for a while. So you can come try the award-winning Thick Nectar, which is Tiger Thick. And a lot of these venues I'm doing, we don't have distribution in. So I have to set up and figure out, with shipping and getting cases there and selling the bottles and having fans try it. But because it's not officially there, we have to, and we can't mass ship stuff. Texas is it's already there. It's good to go. Everyone's gonna have a chance to try it because that's the number one. I meet all these people like, dude, you ran a Tiger Thing. I'm like, literally in the first show we sold out, man, because this isn't an official market, so we can only bring a certain amount. But in San Antonio and Houston, we're gonna have all the whiskey, all the Tiger Thick there. So I'm excited for that, man. That Specs all announced soon. We're gonna do a giveaway for San Antonio and Texas. I'll post it today on my social media, where you can have opportunity to not only win a bottle of Tiger Thick, but also win 4 VIP tickets to San Antonio and Houston, Texas. So if you're in the area, stay tuned for that. Pay attention. But San Antonio is this week, LOL, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, San Antonio, Texas. Next week, Houston, Texas at the Houston Improv. And then we'll do an appearance at the Specs out in Houston on, I think, Saturday. I keep you guys posted. And then the giveaway I also keep posted. But it's going to be dope. I can't wait, man. And shout out to Calgary. Calgary, Canada. Some of the best crowds I've ever had. The fans out there, man, just unreal. So we're lining a Canada tour up for next year, and we'll be all over, man. So I'm excited. I am excited, man. All right, Jim, what do you got? And then obviously there's a fight night on Saturday as well. You had Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen. Even with the injury going on, it seemed Arnold Allen was I'd say he won that first round. Then Calvin Kattar goes for that jumping knee, blows his freaking knee out. And then with the leg kick, it's tough for Calvin. It sucks to see someone go out like that. The Arnold Allen train keeps rolling. With what's going on in the featherweight division with Volkanovski fighting Makhachev, that leaves a guy in Emmett, Josh Emmett. So Arnold Allen, Emmett makes a lot of sense there. That's what I'd like to see. And shout out to my boy Cleo Roundtree for fighting Dustin Jacoby, who was ranked. Roundtree wasn't, and Jacoby, I think, has been on a 7-fight win streak. So to get that nod is insane. And I know it's a split decision. A lot of people thought Jacoby got robbed on that, but I love Dustin, but I'm such a fan of Khalil, and that's my guy. So I'm just glad he got the win. But Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett next. You're welcome. What do you got, Jen?
All right, you mentioned the whole conspiracy. People think that the whole fight rigging thing. So I have like 2 different things for you on that one. Love it. I had a bunch of people send me this. Someone named Rodney sent me this in particular. So if you look at this, you see that punch right there?
Yeah.
So keep going. It looks like it almost just passed his face, didn't really touch him. But this is one that's getting a lot of views. This one, not this one in particular, but there's a bunch of videos that are getting like millions of views. So it's picking up a lot of steam. But then if you look at, so I'll play this. So this already has 3.2 million views, right? Watch. It looks like he just barely grazes his nose, right?
It sure does.
From this angle.
From that angle. But if you go to the official angle.
And watch this one.
So pause it real quick. Mm-hmm. So all this stuff is confirmation bias, right? So how many angles did they look at until they're like, oh, this doesn't look real? You probably went through 10 different angles. 9 out of 10 showed Anderson Silva getting knocked the fuck out and landed on his ass.
I saw on the live broadcast.
Yeah, you saw it. I mean, it's insane. So, but the confirmation bias, which feeds this narrative that's rigged, how many angles did you go through? If you had to go through the majority of them where it showed him getting actually punched, and then you finally found one that works for your narrative, you piece of shit.
And not only that, people nowadays, we don't know, people can doctor videos. So it can make it look like
oh, for sure.
Because it's not a clear video. It's kind of like.
And what's interesting too is, we live in this world of social media where I always tell people it's not real. Like think how much hate Machine Gun Kelly gets. Think how much hate Drake gets. Weird. They sell out every venue though. If so many people hate them, why are they selling every venue out? Why are their album sales trending #1 all over the place? It's so strange. If social media was so real, how are these guys making a living?
Chris Pratt, that's
I don't
a big
get
example.
it. Chris Pratt, so strange.
Yeah.
Keeps getting booked for movies. It's so weird.
Yeah.
So with Jake Paul, like if you had to go through how many different angles and then you're gonna doctor it,
Potentially doctored.
definitely doctored. But what's interesting too, memory doctors to a weird angle. Look at that. Oh, weird. That's his fist in his face. But
You'll see it here, right here. It definitely hits his face there. It's pretty obvious.
Oh
It hit his
man,
face.
that looks doctored.
No, this is
I know
like,
how
this
stupid
angle
is
you
that?
can totally tell he got
it's
hit.
right in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't even need to see that without knowing they bullshit those. So I assume those two are doctored or just a weird angle.
Just weird angles, yeah.
But why don't they show that one? And look, the first comment on this was the knockout seems edited. Okay, but what's weird about this, and even if you go to the Pelosi thing, notice the major media outlets, and when I say major, I guess the historic major ones like Fox and CNN and stuff like that, none of them are reporting this. But to get the actual, what's great and bad about social media is those other alternative information details come out only on social media. Because Fox and CNN can get sued if they run with a narrative and they're not 100% sure and they don't have, several journalists, sources and stuff like that. But when you go through the other stuff, like credible people are putting out, like Candace Owens, stuff like that, or whatever, whether you think she's credible or not, but just outside of her, and you get these other facts, you're like, man, why aren't these news outlets reporting? And then you realize a lot of our news is coming through social media, good and bad. A lot of it, you're like, oh, when you find out the other facts of certain situation, like, Jesus, this is nuts. Like the Jesse Smollett stuff, people on Twitter were calling bullshit from they're like, even black people were like, this seems fishy. But then Fox and CNN at the time were kind of riding with it because they have to. And then our politicians were riding with it, and Kamala Harris and Biden were riding with it, saying this is ridiculous and I can't believe America, blah, 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 right? But the social media was ahead of the game going, oh, this smells fishy. And then we find out that it's pretty fishy, So it's good and bad. Because you're not going to see this on ESPN, that it's doctored or fake or anything
Just
like that.
more crazy angles.
Yeah, no. But the confirmation bias online, it's tough because now you can run with this narrative. So, like you said, that 3.2 million views of that fake one, and that was when we watched it this morning at 11 a.m. By tomorrow, it's, who knows, 6 million views. Well, if 6 million people see that and think that's real and think it's fake, it feeds in that narrative. And I told you guys, if you go back and listen when I started ranting about this, I told you guys, this is only going to hurt. You're setting yourself up for complete failure. Because if you think Jake Paul, all his fights are staged and all of it's fake, and you're a huge Nate Diaz fan, he's the original real gangster, and then Nate fights him, and if Nate gets beat, what are you going to do? That means Nate got beat by a guy who's actually not winning any fights. But then for the first time in your mind, because you've been compromised by social media, the first time ever, Nate finally has to take a real fight. Nate ain't going to take no fall. He's gangster. He's gangster. I hear this. He's gangster. And then if Jake beats him, what the fuck? Literally, people's dicks are going to explode. It's going to be nuts.
Literally.
They're literally like, oh, I saw that video online. I thought it was fake this whole time. It's not. I made money on my YouTube putting out fake narratives. Oh, my God. What are you going to do? What else you got, Jen?
All right. This is a really quick one. So James Vick, he was let go from UFC.
Yep.
Went to Karate Combat. So he lost his first fight, Karate Combat.
That
but
sucked.
Robin Black, Boss Rutan, I think GSP too. They're all part of Karate Combat, which is cool. But I just thought this looks cool. This is his fight, but just the background. It looks like a movie,
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah.
Looks very Mortal Kombat 90s vibe.
And now it's gone. But yeah.
Oh, why'd they take the video down?
I don't know. Or maybe it's just my player. Nope, it's already gone. But we saw a little bit of it. This I thought was kind of crazy too. So Uriah Hall, before the fight, he had a press conference. He said he was dealing with depression after he left the UFC. Mm-hmm. He said because he's 20 years into the game. Yeah. That's all he knew. He says a lot of athletes, fighters probably deal with the same thing.
Everyone, soldiers deal with PTSD.
Yeah, because that's
not only is it PTSD, but you get done and you have this strict lifestyle, even in sports, whether it's football, basketball, hockey, soccer, baseball, all this stuff, MMA. You have this strict schedule, and you have this. You're trying to achieve this goal, and then once that's over, you wake up like, I don't have anybody telling me, I don't have a schedule, man. And then depression comes, and it's dark.
Yeah, he said
everyone deals with it.
He said he got to a point where he was looking at his firearm and thinking like, he could potentially end his life. Luckily, he had people around him to
good thing he had people around him.
But I mean, that's something that I guess retired fighters and retired people that are athletes.
Everyone deals with it. I mean, think about when you graduate college, that weird like gray area, right? And you're looking for a job, and it's scary, and you don't know what the future holds, and you have this degree, and you're told if you get a degree that you get this job, and then it's not really happening for you in this gray area. Like that's how these guys feel, but they're a lot older. They don't have youth on their side to figure it out and backpack through Europe or where the fuck these kids do. So with a fighter, it's like, all right, I'm 36. I don't have a ton of money in my account. I have a certain set of skills. I guess I'll go teach karate. It's like, what do you do? Yeah. Of course they're depressed.
It seems like it happens mostly with athletes too, because their window's smaller than any other kind of job.
And soldiers, think about that.
Yeah, that too. All right, so this is also interesting. Well, I'll just play this clip for you. This is Jake Paul telling Dana White to suck his dick.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Let me refresh this real quick.
I think Jake doing the stuff against Dana, like I compared, on Shawshank Redemption. Nobody's cheering for the warden, the guy who has it all already. It's hard to cheer for Dana, even though he does a lot of great things. But whenever a guy who has less, even though Jake has a significant amount of money, but still less than Dana. Dana's set, and Dana doesn't have to fight for his money. So it's hard, even though if you dislike Jake Paul, to root for Dana when they had their beef. You got to be a real sociopath to root for the guy who has everything and, sits in Newport and his neighbors, Mike Tyson and Conor McGregor, and he's this dictator of fighters. So have to root for that guy, Mm-hmm. So Jake Paul doing this is good.
Okay, let me play. This is from MMA Junkie.
Man, look at the makeup on Anderson Silva's eyes. I can't believe they faked that. It's like he got punched in the face for real.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Dana.
Look at Anderson.
Dana. Bro, you said I wouldn't do this, and I did it, and with flying colors. But, he's in hiding. He's trying to do everything he can to stop my run, to sabotage my fights. He hates me. He hates me. He hates what I'm doing. He hates I'm exposing his business. And now, we're going to band together and create a United Fighters Association to help UFC fighters, all MMA fighters, and boxers to get more fighter pay, long-term health care.
Good luck.
And that's a big undertaking that I've been wanting to do for the whole entire time.
It's the biggest, Jake.
Of my career since I met Nikisa.
You have a better chance beating Canelo than you do getting a fighters union together.
Let's wait till this commercial ends.
Apple cider. Yeah, I mean, Dana hates this shit. He don't. And what's next for him if he beats Nate? I don't know what they're gonna do.
So man, Dana White can suck this dick.
Yeah, I love Anderson because Anderson, he's had his issues with Dana, and they've been business partners. He's just like, oh god, Mm-hmm. Anderson's such a nice guy. He doesn't really do that.
So, Jake even said beforehand that Dana has been trying to stop people from knowing about this fight. Obviously, people know about the fight, but he's been doing a bunch of stuff, even like cease and desist letters, because Jake was promoting the fight with some clips of Anderson, so he wanted to stop all those clips from coming out.
Clips of Anderson from the
UFC, yeah. So there you go.
It's a shark at the top who, if he doesn't like you, he'll do anything to try to stop you. I've been there, my man. This guy, Dana, and the UFC were sending me cease and desist letters this whole entire week to take down YouTube videos where we had highlights of Anderson in the UFC. Yeah, it's frowned upon, which is all over the internet, right? But their lawyer's saying it's a cease and desist. He's doing anything he can to try and mess this up on this fight weekend. It's clear he has some sort of vendetta against me, and maybe you, Anderson, as well. Of course. Look at the way they're treating it. In his video, it's hilarious. Look at the way they're treating Hardy. Dan Hardy.
Dan Hardy.
Yeah, trying to devalue him and assume that he's a woman beater, and it's just like Dan Hardy's like, what in the fuck? Yeah, he's like, this is what they do. They always do this. They try to sabotage my business. They try to devalue me so I don't have any worth after I leave the UFC. Like, it's what they do, man.
Yeah.
But this day and age with the internet, stuff like that, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Trust me, I've been there.
Yeah, everything will come out.
Escorted out of fucking UFC Now studios. It was hilarious.
And Fox too.
Oh yeah, and Fox. They just won't let me back in. Hilarious.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
So this is also another thing. Jake Paul said that Dana White banned him from UFC events, and he had Stylebender on his podcast, and they're talking about this. So I'll play a little bit of it for you.
Look, I'd say good skill, Jake. Good skill.
This is before the fight, by the way.
And just keep doing you, man. Keep doing you. Like, it's fun to watch. And we'll tap in later on. Yeah, we'll tap in later on. I think we're overdue for a catch-up.
100%, bro. I'll maybe pop into New York or some shit like that.
Hey,
let's
feel
go.
free. Well, you're fighting MSG as
Oh,
well, right?
fuck, I'm banned. Yeah, but I'm banned from UFC events. Fuck, I can't pull
Why?
it.
What'd you do? What'd you do?
No, Dana
didn't do
Dana
anything.
banned
He really
me.
didn't do anything.
Dana banned me after they all
well,
were
maybe-
yelling "fuck Jake Paul" in the stadium, and then I tried to
yeah,
go
that's
to
right. I
a
remember
different
that.
fight, and all of our tickets were declined, banned, and then like his assistant was like, "Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here!" and like escorted me
At
out
the
of
event. At the event.
At the event, and then Dana White's son, apparently, I didn't know who it was at the time. He's like, "I fucking hate you." He was like drunk off of some shit, like wearing some suit, and he was like, "Fuck you," and he was using like racial slurs against me. And yeah, that was the last.
Call him the
that was
N-word?
the last UFC event. Sorry, yeah, I forgot I can't come, but
Damn, that's wild.
but
I
yeah.
mean, fuck, you still pull up. Be at the after party, man. It's gonna be
I'll wear a
fun.
disguise. I'll wear a disguise or some shit.
Oh, I bet
Yeah.
you'll do that for content. Wear a disguise.
The fat suit, you know how the fat suit is
Yeah.
for Tyson Fury? Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I guess he's banned from the events.
Oh, you mean Dana White's son's not a good person?
We don't know. We don't know.
No. It's fine. He wears suits and calls people the N-word.
We don't know what he said. All right, so this also was
Sounds
kind of
like a
surprising.
stand-up guy.
This was surprising to me. Anthony Smith. So in this article, BJPen.com, it says Anthony Smith encourages MMA fans to boycott Jake Paul's future fights. And he's saying, why are we still pandering to this piece of...
That's weird. And I mean, I can kind of get it. Trust me, I get it. Let's see. We should all boycott the rest of his fights until he fights someone who's on his level or whatever level we deem him to be. Well, if he fought to the level that the internet deems him to be, Anthony, who would he fight? Pauly Shore? You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys think he's the worst of all time. So who should, if he predicated based off the internet, he wouldn't even, you guys wouldn't allow him to fight. So that's silly. You talk all this shit about MMA fighters, talk shit about the UFC, then you pretend that you want to bring fighters up and you want everyone to get paid better, but you trash everyone every time they fight.
But he didn't trash Anderson. He gave him a lot of respect. Yeah.
Never, yeah.
I think it was older.
Cool Smith's MMA venture putting food on the table for the boxer, saying older, shorter, smaller, past prime legends that have spent their entire careers ruining their bodies into fucking car accidents. Hold you guys near and dear to hearts. Go fuck yourself. Like, are we even paying this piece of shit? Yeah, I think Anthony, the hates, he should steer it towards other people. You realize Anderson made more money in this fight than he's ever made. Woodley made more money than he's ever made. Ben Askren made more money than he's ever made. Also, if he's not good, then why is he beating these guys? And then he's also advocating for fighter pay. He's the only one with this magnitude of a platform to even get close to bringing attention to it. So I would say he's doing a lot more for the UFC fighters than anyone has ever done. So the hate towards him, I get it, because Anthony Smith has so many fights. He's such a good fighter and has so many fights. I would be willing to bet Jake made more off fighting Anderson Silva than Anthony has his entire career. So I understand the hostile take there, you know, but it's kind of, I'd point the smoking gun at somebody else. Unfortunately, he's not the one.
Yeah, and I was talking to Case earlier. Like, it kind of sucks for people to say, you know, don't watch you know what I'm saying, like promoting people to not do this because they think, because it's their opinion that they're, you know, Jake Paul's a bad dude or whatever. But why shut someone else down for doing their thing just because you don't like it?
Correct. It makes no sense. It's also not going to work. Again, I tell you guys this: you're just promoting Jake Paul. So Anthony Smith, he's like, let's not promote him, but you talked about him. You know, so
And then
that's
it's promoting him.
Yeah, and people aren't sheep. They're gonna be like, I'm actually gonna tune into this. Maybe if it's even to see him get beat up, you're still paying Jake Paul. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you already know about this, but so I guess the original idea was for John Jones to fight Stipe in December, right? December 10th. But apparently something's going on with Stipe, but John Jones says he's still training and still wanting to fight on that card, even though Prochazka and Glover Teixeira are like the main event.
And what I was told by somebody who deals with these guys is if we hear Yuri and Glover are in the rematch, John Jones off the card. There's one of the two, and they're waiting for Stipe to sign. He didn't. So you get the announcement of Yuri. That means John's not fighting this card. They didn't want to put both of them on the card.
There's no one else for John other than Ngannou, but he can't do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the website it says TBD, but has the picture of Uri and Glover.
Interesting. You do John versus Cyril Gahn.
Yeah, but I mean, damn. It'd be so much cooler.
Oh, I know.
Stipe
Trust me,
and
I'm
Ngannou.
just saying.
Yeah. So anyways,
Yeah.
it'd be more,
Stipe is more like a legendary fight, just
Yeah.
John taking over, you know. Oh, Matt, it's a tougher fight for John. Yeah. Cyril Gahn's in his freaking prime. Footwork and stuff would be interesting. But definitely be a tough task for John out of anybody.
yeah, true.
I'd love to see it. I just want him to fight, for God's sakes. I don't go fight. I'd watch him fight the 50th ranked heavyweight in the UFC right now.
Yeah. But like you said, he's asking Stipe to sign the contracts. There's something going on with Stipe and the UFC apparently, where he's not signing the contract.
Interesting.
You already mentioned this too, but just thought I'd throw it out again. So GSP says his contract with the UFC is over. He can do whatever he wants now. So we'll see what happens with him.
I don't see George doing the
The Jake Paul
Jake
stuff.
Paul
Yeah.
stuff now.
He doesn't want to
because
get.
he's talking about damage. He doesn't want to do that.
And this is it's just funny from Sean O'Malley. He said he rewatched the fight. He goes, definitely won.
Agree.
Put a heart emoji.
Agree.
And then since then, Daniel Cormier, he says he's been hearing stuff about Peter Yan because, you know, Peter Yan, he lost a split to Aljamain. He had the DQ because of the knee. And then now this Sean O'Malley thing, he's saying that he thinks the UFC doesn't have his back, so he might want to do something else and not
Oh, you
be
mean
in
the
the
UFC doesn't want a Russian champion during these times? Yeah.
I don't know. But so that's what Daniel Cormier says.
Data against Peter Yan because he's Russian. Yeah, good chance. You know. What are you gonna do with that? You can't fight in Russia.
Definitely can't fight in Russia.
No.
Not right now.
What are you gonna do with that? Face of, that division's Russian. With what's going on right now, it's gonna be tough to market. You think Americans are gonna get behind that? Your American audience can't advertise in Russia for the most part. I don't think. From a business standpoint, I'm with Peter Yan. I'm like, I'm fucking out of here, dude. If it goes decisions, you guys want me to lose? Who knows how deep it goes?
So those are his last fights right there.
Yeah, that Sterling, the decision split's tough, and then Sean O'Malley split. My only caveat with it, it's not like he got robbed on any of them. You can see how the other guy would get the nod. And now if he was like, it was clear as day, Rob's like, oh my God, yeah, the fix is in, dude. Get out of there. Go fight somewhere else where you're not fighting it out. You know, the fight Peter Yan's fighting would be outside the octagon if he's getting robbed. The only thing is he didn't get robbed on those two.
Yeah, it was close.
But if you think that Dana White wanted those scorecards to read Peter Yan, you're out of your mind.
plus Sean's like such a
He
huge.
checks way more
Yeah.
boxes. Unfortunately for Peter Yan, he checks all the boxes.
All right, some fight announcements: Bryce Mitchell and Ilya Tapura.
Yeah, I love that.
Yep.
That's on
They're
UFC
both-
282, so that's in December.
And they're
December
both
10th.
undefeated, so that should be a good
great
scrap.
fight.
And then there's also
That
the
youngster
youngest.
with the face.
the face. Yep, 18-year-old Raul Rosas Jr. He's gonna fight a guy named Jay Perrin at UFC
18, dude. Nuts.
18, yeah. That's his debut fight in the actual UFC.
The bummer about UFC 281 is you don't get a Bo Nickel because you got injured
Yeah,
and
yeah.
pull out. I was looking most forward to that fight. So the young kid's fighting Jay Perrin,
who lost his last two in the UFC. But
I mean, that makes sense. The kid's 18.
no.
No, I'm saying
I know,
the kid
I
he's
see what you're
fighting is
saying.
18. Yeah, man. Give the kid a solid.
And they want him to blow up for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is who he should be fighting. Guys like this for a long time at 18.
Yeah. And here's a quick one. So we mentioned last week that Bellator, they're going to have 5 of their, best fighters fight in Ryzen. So these are their opponents. I don't know their opponents, but I'm just looking at their records. It seems pretty evenly matched as far as the records are concerned, right? So Patricio Pitbull 34-5.
Say that name, Jen.
Kleber Koki Erst.
Kleber
Koki Erst.
AJ McKee Jr. versus Roberto de Souza. Juan Archuleta.
Suchul
Kim.
And Kyoji.
Horiguchi. Yeah.
It's like roughly the same.
Yeah.
So it should be good.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. And it's cool that they're actually doing that kind of cross-promotion
names
stuff.
Are tough, huh? Besides Roberto de Souza. Those other ones are tough tests.
Yeah. All right. I'll just play it for you. This is Henry Cejudo calling out Aljamain.
Aljamain Sterling signed the contract, Perth, Australia, in February.
Closet?
February 11th.
Aljamain's funny. Just put no.
I'll show you an update to that too.
12th, but either way, sign that damn contract.
So that's
Said
what.
No.
Yeah, Cejudo wanted that, and then Aljamain. This is what he's saying pretty much. He doesn't want to fight until mid next year because he's earned it. He's been fighting.
I agree. Yeah, do your thing. You're the champ, Al. Mm-hmm. Do your thing, dude. I'm with him. He's like, no.
And he says kick rocks.
No. Kick rocks.
And then since that happened, now Cejudo's asking for your boy, Sean O'Malley.
Hey, Dana White, since Denzel Sterling wants to work on his rap career, he can be called Little Power. How about me versus Ronald McDonald? For interim in Australia, I'm short, so I'm used to being down under. Yeah, I don't think no.
Yeah,
Sugar's just gonna wait for the Aljamain fight and next year. There's no way he takes a fight against Cejudo. That'd be a
just go for this bad championship.
Idea. Cejudo's a nightmare of a matchup for both of them. It's a tough fight. Mm-hmm. Cejudo's a monster.
And this is a Conor McGregor live stream. Check him out.
Right now, I don't know. Hold on to this for a minute. Don't know, baby.
He's lean too, and he's out of the testing. It's hilarious. I love this.
264. Let's have about 265, yeah? In the bank. Super heavy in the bank, yeah? Yo.
He does look giant.
Jack.
Yeah.
And like still lean. It's insane. Mm-hmm. Good for him. I wonder what he is there, though.
This is. I just saw it. It's super funny. It's a meme.
What movie was he in?
I don't know. And I can't even find Derek Lewis's Instagram anymore. I feel like it's gone. Like something happened.
Instagram took down a bunch of accounts randomly.
Oh, okay.
They don't know if it was hacked or what, but.
So it just says made friends with this guy before the movie started, just in case. And it's a white dude with orange hair.
Dude, he looks identical to the shooter of Dark Knight in Aurora, Colorado. My home theater. My mom was about 5 minutes from there. Jeez, that's hilarious.
That's crazy.
It's hilarious.
And then this one here, this was on Bellator. I don't know the fighter. I tried to find his name, but I couldn't find him. But he did like a Wolverine. You see this?
Oh, and he even went for like the bullshit. Yeah. Like he actually had claws.
Yeah, I don't know if he won or lost.
It did work out though.
Yeah, but it looks crazy.
But what was this? What was his plan?
I have no idea. But it just looks insane to do that.
Well, but also when he reached, did he think he was gonna get like a double leg? Did he think he was like had claws?
Just to shock the guy, maybe, I don't know.
It ended up screwing him.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
What did Fury say about Jake Paul?
Oh, that's John Fury.
Yeah, there you go.
John Fury and Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury was apparently talking smack after Jake Paul won because he's fighting an old dude. But Tommy Fury pulled out 2 times from the fight. So,
well, I mean, the narrative there. Listen, Tyson Fury is my favorite fighter in any combat sports, and I love him. But hey, man, you don't let your little brother, who, let's be honest, he's not very good. He's dime piece, great reality star, not a boxer. Jake would have mopped the floor with your brother
at this point.
And you guys prevented him from fighting him. So when you go, he's fighting old people, you're like, okay, well, he tried fighting your brother. Mm-hmm. What happened? You guys prevented it from happening. You're the only reason he didn't come out here. What's this?
This is just Logan Paul saying he wants to fight Andrew Tate. This is more of,
What he talks like, I'm either listening to him say something that actually makes absolutely no effing sense, or it's a statement so bold that it's repulsive. I think people misunderstood what to us was very clearly satire and sarcasm as like a respect or liking to Tate. But I've never liked Tate. I find him amusing the same way you find a clown amusing. Maybe I would take the opportunity to platform him just for one night, and turns his freaking face inside out, have him wheeled home or gurney with his brother holding his hands in the ambulance type shit. I don't like you. I want to F you up. Tough fight for Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about the guy who's a former world champion kickboxer? Now, I don't know Andrew Tate, but if I'm just going off the P's and Q's here, if I'm going off black and white skill set, I don't know if you want that, Logan. You know, that tough one. Tough one.
Two very popular dudes, though, so probably do decent.
Yeah, do well. You have a fight night. Fight nights have been tough. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
You have Rodriguez Lemos. Obviously, they want Rodriguez to get a title shot. But the best fight on the cards, the co-main event, Neil Magny, Daniel Rodriguez. Yeah. I love that fight. Daniel Rodriguez coming off, that fight with the Leech, last second replacement. Neil Magny's won this fight, so I'm all about it.
Cool.
So enjoy those, but I probably won't be watching. I'll watch that one probably on Sunday. It's not a good enough card to try and set up in the green room. That's always a nightmare. But I'll be in San Antonio, speaking of green room, San Antonio this Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the LOL. Tiger Thick will be available. If you're not in Texas and can't come try that award-winning Sweet Thick Nectar, you can get it online at thickboy.com, get delivered to your doorstep. And then next week, November 10th through the 12th, is Houston Improv, Houston, Texas. I'll be with a sign at Specs. I think it's on Saturday. I'll announce all that on my social media. We're also doing a giveaway for San Antonio this week and a giveaway for Houston the following week. We'll blast out on Tiger Thick and my social media where 4 people can get VIP tickets and Tiger Thick. We're going to do a dope giveaway, so pay attention on there to win free tickets to the show and Tiger Thick. And then I close November in Milwaukee Improv, November 18th through the 19th. All the touring for OE Thick tour for 2022 is Providence, Rhode Island, December 1st through the 3rd, and then Washington, D.C. Improvs, December 15th through 17th. Get your tickets at thickboy.com. Get your award-winning Sweet Nectar at thickboy.com. We got it all there. New merch. We dropped new merch this week for the Thick Boy Diet Tees. You've seen me rock them around. We have hoodies, long sleeves, and tees. Get you some. Love you guys. Happy Halloween. Eat some candy for me. I have cavities, so I can't touch them. My teeth are all messed up. So eat candy for your boy here. Be safe out there. Make sure you go through your kids' candy for fentanyl. And love you guys. Till next time, I'm out.